idea for my FMP is to create a podcast. I want to create a podcast as I like making one last year, and I want to show how I have improved since then. I also want to be able to practice and get better at skills I have learnt over the past 2.5 years, while also learning new skills in the coming weeks. The type of podcast I want to create is a gaming podcast, which will follow a specific genre of video game, which is the linear game structure of video games. For my inspiration, over the last 12 months, two main podcasts have been intriguing to me. One being the Cycling GK podcast, which is Ben Foster from Wrexham FC's podcast, where he'll talk about his experiences as a goalkeeper, but also bring on special guests who could be former players of his or his agents or physios of the teams he has played for, giving all different aspects of the sport. And then a different type of podcast is for TV shows, and it's for HBO's The Last of Us podcast, which was able to delve quite deep into the lore of the show and how they made it and why it was made in a very specific way, how certain scenes were filmed and why it was so important. And then recently, coming back to why I want to make a game podcast, someone on YouTube has been talking about another niche in video game genre, which is the open world version of games. But for me, the thing that would interest me would be for linear games. For these, here's some examples of podcasts and show how different genres can be utilized when making a podcast. So these can be sport-based, TV-based, true crimes. Some can be just based on music, film reviews, food, fitness, and many other things to do with artists and yeah. What I will research different genres of podcasts and how they differentiate from one another, and then from that my chosen genre, identify the codes and conventions of podcasts, research different podcast websites and how professional ones are made, distribute a questionnaire centered around podcasts, genres listened to and why they'll listen to it, experimentation of podcasts, example, practice podcasts and questions, and make any amendments that are needed before the production begins. Here is my plan for my work. So in the first few weeks, it'd be to do the research for the project, create a pitch and proposal using the internet questionnaire analysis. Then it'd be the experimentation with getting feedback off that, completing the planning with risk assessments, location recce's, and then drawing plans for a website, which will also be part of my FMP. Then it'll be the production and post-production over the weeks after. A way to keep track of what I'm supposed to be doing in specific weeks is through a Gantt chart, where I will be able to see where I am up to and see what I need to change, if anything is changing. From this, I can see what week I'm on and what I'm supposed to do in that week. It makes it easier for me as I can digest it a bit better and use it slightly like a checkbox to make sure I'm doing stuff in the order that I want to do things. Thank you for listening.